Hello everybody. At the fag end of our last session, I introduced to you two terms called as dextro and levo. These are experimental terms, meaning thereby if you have a molecule which is optically active, it must be either dextro-rotating or levo-rotating molecule. And this can be proved only after you conduct an experiment using polarimeter. These dextro and levo molecules are therefore, the nomenclature of dextro and levo is therefore experimental in nature. We do require something like a theoretical name also, because to be called as dextro or levo, by looking at the structure we do not get any clue. Unless and until you perform an experiment, we are not in a position to determine whether it is dextro or levo. So that is experimental reality. We require one more way of naming these compounds, which are called as RS. So what all you have to do in this RS method of naming an organic compound is, you have to identify the chiral center. If you recollect, it must have 4 different groups, and you must also give priorities of each of the groups or atoms in terms of atomic number. For example, imagine I am having bromine and chlorine. Bromine has greater atomic number, it takes greater priority than chlorine. If you have iodine, bromine and chlorine, it is iodine that has maximum priority, followed by bromine, then chlorine. For a chiral center, we have 4 different groups. Let me show you one such thing here. For example, if you look into this, on the left side, this side you can see, this is the formula, and I put a star over the carbon. That is the convention we have adopted to recognize a chiral center. And the way it is drawn is a Fischer projection. Even though Fischer projection has some limitations, still it is very clear groups at the top and bottom are away from the viewer, and groups left and right are towards the viewer. That is the Fischer projection. I have arranged at random some groups of my choice. Hydrogen coming top, then we have what is called as chlorine coming down, this is iodine, and this is bromine. So what we have to do is, before we name the molecule as R or S, ensure in a Fischer projection that the least priority group, in this case it is hydrogen, it must be away from the viewer. So as per Fischer projection, any group or atom that is coming above and below are away from the viewer. Any group that is coming on the horizontal line is towards us. So the RS rule, the procedure is, the least priority group must be away from the viewer. So I have ensured it is away from the viewer. In that case, already I have fixed up the priorities. Iodine takes maximum priority, then bromine, then chlorine. Now allow your eyesight to move from the maximum priority to least priority. Maximum priority, that is, I am starting with iodine, this is away from the viewer, then we go to bromine, and then we come to chlorine. This is what I have indicated. This is the order. Iodine, it is moving. So it is, our eyesight is taking a clockwise direction. Such a molecule is called as R molecule, capital R. So what is that I have written here? For you to remember, hydrogen away from the viewer, if it is clockwise direction of the eyesight, that molecule has a surname R. And the mirror image, if you watch out, it must invariably be a S molecule. That is, again, hydrogen is coming top or bottom, it doesn't make a difference. Again, allow your eyesight to proceed from maximum priority to least priority. Here, if you watch out this molecule, this is my iodine, then it is moving like this, bromine, and it is coming back to chlorine. So this is anti-clockwise. Hydrogen away, anti-clockwise is S molecule. Not at all difficult. Are you getting this point here? So I have written the same thing here in this small chart here. This is anti-clockwise direction, and I am getting this molecule as S. So this particular molecule, which is rather simple, what is the name of this molecule? It is bromochloroiodomethane. Bromochloroiodomethane. If I merely specify that name, I am not sure which of these 2 molecules I am referring to. This has nothing to do with the experimental. If it is chiral, you must know how to name it. So an additional point comes the nomenclature wherein you say this is R molecule, this is S molecule. Fairly simple. There is one more way you can understand. Suppose in this existing configuration, if you go for one interchange, only one place, then you will get a molecule. If this is R, you will get an enantiomer of R, that is S. Only one. What is that I have done here? I did not change the location of H and Br, but I have interchanged one exchange. Am I not getting the mirror image of that? So whenever you go for one interchange surrounding a chiral carbon, you will report an enantiomer. And I have written here, for example, this is one way of remembering. Now, there is one more way I want to share with you before we take up the chart again. Now, logical point, you will easily appreciate because that is the strong point of a science student. Now, if I say hydrogen away, clockwise is R. What is the logic? Every time hydrogen need not be given as for my comfort level. Hydrogen could be either on the left or right also, left or right. In that case, how do you use this rule? So if hydrogen away, it is clockwise and R. If hydrogen is towards us, clockwise should be S. Don't you think so? This is what I want to keep in mind. For example, here, if you watch out here, this representation, I have seen that hydrogen is on the horizontal line. Therefore, hydrogen is coming towards us. Then again, rest of things are same. You allow your eyesight to rotate from maximum priority to least priority. If you watch out here, I think it is taking what direction here? It is taking anti-clockwise direction. Hydrogen towards us, and the priority is what? From iodine, it is going to bromine and coming to chlorine. Iodine, bromine, chlorine, anti-clockwise. Hydrogen towards us, clockwise should be S molecule. Sorry, R molecule. Hydrogen towards us, clockwise should be S. Hydrogen away, clockwise R. This is an easy rule. It can easily be justified also. So even if you are given a number of molecules and you are asked to segregate them into R and S, you can easily do them by this. This is a quick method and I don't think there is any drawback or flaw in this approach here. So this is what I have done. For example, I am giving this molecule here, the mirror image. This molecule, watch out here. Are you watching out again? Go by the priority here. Now it is going for clockwise. So hydrogen towards us and it is clockwise, and you know how to name that. That is S molecule. Hydrogen towards us anti-clockwise, that is R molecule. Hope this position is clear for all of you. This is an easy way of remembering or writing the R-S configuration for a chiral carbon here. This is one thing I want to tell you. Now I have written one more thing here. For example, if you take this molecule, this is 2-bromobutane. 2-bromobutane over carbon, which is chiral, I have put a star. Therefore, again, I have written as per my convinced. So this portion, this is condensed formula. If you open out, I could have written hydrogen up or bromine, hydrogen down. Either way, I have written hydrogen up here and hydrogen down here. Either way, it is away from us. The least priority group should be away from us. So straight away, I can say this molecule, the first molecule, it is going for anti-clockwise direction. Are you watching out? Bromine is maximum priority. Then we have H2CH3. If the first attached atom is same, then go for the nearest neighborhood. This is attached to 3 hydrogens, whereas this is attached to only 2 and other is a carbon. So that takes priority. So you can easily decide priority. There is no difficulty. The beauty of stereochemistry is it will help you to develop a keen sense of observation so that any environmental differences you can easily make it out. So this molecule I am moving from bromine, it is moving in this direction. Anti-clockwise, hydrogen away from us, this is S molecule. So only one interchange I brought about, bromine up and only one interchange, so that must be the R molecule. Either way you can name it. Hope I am very clear for you at this stage. Next is, till this point, we have taken those cases where you have only one chiral center. Curiosity demands, what will happen if I take an example or an organic molecule where there are 2 chiral centers? Will it be a repetition of what we have done or something unexpected happens? Either way we are happy. If it is repetition, that means we are confirming, okay, what we have taught as a criteria for optical activity is correct. Suppose something is new is emerging, then that will help you to fine-tune our recognition, fine-tune our understanding of the chiral center. So I have written here molecule which is called as tartaric acid. This molecule, above formula is this. I suppose you can see that easily. This is COOH, CHOH, CHOH, COH. It is a dicarboxylic acid. And I put a star over the carbon. That means you watch out the first star here. What is the environment of this? On one side I am having COH, other side I am having OH, and this is H. And the rest of this group, this entire thing is the third group. Similarly for the other one. Therefore, if I am having two chiral centers, how do I go about? So what I have done is, I have written like this. This is the first arrangement I have drawn, wherein I have put two hydrogens on the same side, and these are COH with this Fischer projection. This one place. And the mirror image of that. Next, I have changed this configuration by going for one change. Instead of OH here, I brought OH to the other side. There is one more point. Therefore, I have written four structures. HH on the same side, H and OH on this thing here. So I am getting a corresponding mirror image here. This is a theoretical argument. Therefore, I am expecting a dextro-LIVO and a dextro-LIVO here. Or if you want, you can name them as R and S also. This is my expectation from the structures I have proposed. Okay, now what is the reality? Now, we can prepare or we can obtain from natural products a very pure enantiomeric form of tartaric acid. What is the meaning of pure form? Either it is dextro or LIVO. So, somebody gives me the sample and I am analyzing that. So what is the meaning of analysis here? I take that compound and put in a polarimeter and I get the deflection. If it is to the right, I call that as dextro. If it is to the left, I call that as LIVO. So I am expecting my confirmation for these four structures I have written here. So different samples, different ways they are produced from nature or from the lab, pure samples are given. I subject them to experimental observation. I realize I am getting only three observations. One compound is dextro, other is LIVO, and other is what is called as it is not showing any optical activity. Surprising. Because as per the structure, there is a chiral center. If there is a chiral center, we expect optical activity. But experiment says we are not getting, for one sample I am not getting any observation. It does not show any optical activity. That means experiment must always be respected. Even though there is a chiral center, in some cases it is not showing the expected optical activity. In some other cases, as expected, it is showing the optical activity. I have to probe this such that I may land up with a new criteria to identify, to find out whether its molecule is optically active or not. So what I have done is, I am again taking this molecule. Before I continue, I want to share with you these two hydrogen same side, either hydrogen OH on some side. Before I go for that criteria of optical activity, I want to explain. There may be a doubt here. Some of you may feel I have just shifted it. It's not. Watch out, HOH. Can't we move because the CC bond rotation is possible? Some of you may feel, can't we just rotate here and that will be the same molecule as this? Not likely, not likely. I want to show with the help of model. Remember, this is the first molecule, wherein what I am holding is groups away from you, red color. These are COH groups. I was talking about tartaric acid, COH. This is my HHOHOH. Either way you can take it. This is the first structure I have written, if you remember. And this is the mirror image for that. I am holding this, and this is the mirror image for this. This is the mirror image. Are you convinced this? I am holding red color in my hand. That is the carboxylic acid. White color spheres are hydrogens and yellow color corresponds to what? That is our hydroxyl group. So this is first and second molecule. I am showing again the chart. This is the molecule I am referring to. First and second. Are the hydrogens the same side? They carry white color. OH is what? Yellow color. COH is red color. And if you remember, the Fischer projection is what? The first and the last group are away from the viewer. And H and OH are projecting towards the viewer. They are projecting towards the viewer. So I have constructed the model like this. These are my first and second molecules. Now I want to show these are my third and fourth molecules. Watch out. This is the first molecule I have taken. These are COH. These are COH groups here. What I am holding here. This is HOH. And this is HOH. They are not on the same side. And the mirror image for this. Hope you are convinced about what I am talking here. White color, yellow color. These are two mirror images. This is molecules 3 and 4. These are molecules 1 and 2. So I am getting 4. But what does the experiment say? I am getting one sample which shows dextro behavior, other sample which shows the levo behavior, and third sample does not show optical activity at all. I am not getting 4 in that case. I should be getting only 3. So what is happening here? I wish to take up again this molecule 1 and 2. This 1 and 2 I am taking here, 1 and 2. Now if you follow here, this is my plane of mirror, the dotted line. Instead of putting plane of mirror outside the molecule, imagine I am keeping it as part of the molecule, That means I am trying to divide the bond, that plane of mirror, divide the bond into two halves here and check out whether they are identical or not, or whether they are looking like mirror images. Do you have a mirror plane within the molecule? So I am having COH here, COH here. I think they are coming one behind the other. Remember the Fisher projection? This is away from the mirror. So they are exactly one behind the other. And this HNOH and HNOH, they are this side part is identical to this part. I will again show the model for you. This is the molecule I was showing. Again watch out. I am holding COH and through this bond I am dividing. Therefore I realize this part of the molecule and this part of the molecule, they are exactly identical. That is, I am using now correct term here. I am using a symmetry argument to find out whether this molecule is symmetrical or not. It is definitely symmetrical. Therefore, molecule 1 and 2 are known for symmetry. Now, what is happening here? If it is symmetry, then try to follow the best test any day for optical activities. You try to superimpose. Have both the molecules. Therefore, what I am doing is I am trying to superimpose. I think the colors are exactly coming. I am holding white colors. Are you getting that point, please? White colors are coming one above the other. What about yellow colors? I think they are also coming one above the other. Hope it is clear for you. This yellow color, two yellow colors are coming. I am repeating that for you. Just check out, without anything here. I am having a molecule like this. Okay. All yellow colors are coming to close to these two. These two. What about red colors? I think I am holding them. They are coming together. White colors, they are coming together. What does it mean? Even though there is a chiral center, you can superimpose 1 and 2 over the other. That means if they are superimposable, they are not different. They are one and the same. That means actually in place of 1 and 2, I should take only one molecule. Whether I take this or this, it doesn't matter. So I am holding on to one molecule. What about third and fourth? This is my third molecule. Again, even it has same number of identical chiral centers. Now again, we'll try to implement what is called as a symmetry plane. To have a symmetry plane, you must have eclipsed conformation. They are one behind the other. I repeat, if you want to check by symmetry plane, you must have a eclipsed plane. Eclipsed is conformal. Are you watching out? If this is passing through this, I don't think this part is looking identical to this. Yellow, I am not getting yellow color, I am getting white color. That means this molecule you cannot divide into identical parts. If that is the case, this and its mirror image, you cannot superimpose. This and the mirror image, for example. This is one molecule and this is one more molecule I am showing. I don't think you can superimpose. That is, in this case, chirality condition makes them not superimposable. If I try whatever way I am trying here, I don't think I can superimpose that. Therefore, I am having one dextro molecule, one levo molecule, where the plane of symmetry is absent. What is plane of symmetry? For eclipsed arrangement, try to divide the molecule into identical halves. That symmetry plane can either cut through bonds or cut through atoms also, but we must get identical portions. I can try different ways of dividing, not necessarily as I've shown earlier. It need not be like this. I can divide from any angle. Whatever way you are trying, I don't think we are getting identical parts. So my 1 and 2, if you watch out here, I am taking only one of them. This molecule is highly symmetrical. Then this tartaric acid, which is not showing optical activity, that sample, is called as a mesotartaric acid. Optical activity is therefore possible for molecules which are asymmetric, not for symmetric molecules. Therefore, with 1 and 2, if you remember what I have shown earlier, this 1 and 2 business here, 1 and 2 are same. 1 and 2 are one and the same because they can be superimposed, because they are symmetrical. What about 3 and 4? That plane of symmetry is absent. Therefore, this molecule is existing, even this is existing. One of them could be dextro, other is levo. I am getting 3. One is a meso compound. where the molecule is highly symmetrical, meso. Other is a dextro molecule and third is a levo molecule. So what is the thing that we can infer at this stage? Even though chiral centers may be present, a better criteria is check out whether there is a plane of symmetry that can divide molecules into equal halves. If plane of symmetry is present, such a molecule cannot show optical activity. Therefore, molecule must be asymmetric. By having that imaginary plane, you cannot have identical this thing here. Therefore, we go for a new criteria called as presence or absence of plane of symmetry for eclipse conformer. Now, this criteria you can impose for the earlier one also. What is the earlier one? Where you are taking only one chiral center with 4 different groups. I don't think you can divide them into equal halves because 4 groups are different. So, presence or absence of plane of symmetry appears to be a better criteria. If that is the case, I am having greater enthusiasm now to find out whether we have any examples where there is no chiral center, that is no 4 different groups here. At the same time, that molecule could be asymmetric, and if it is asymmetric, it cannot superimpose on its mirror image. Got my point? First we start with one chiral center, then we have taken more than one, then we said the new criteria that is emerging is plane of symmetry, absence or presence of that, makes the molecule optically active or not. Then I am going to the third phase when I am imagining the molecule may not have chiral center, but at the same time it could be asymmetric. I am having a molecule called as allene, A-L-L-E-N-E. For example, can you watch this model please? This is carbon atom, this is one more carbon atom, this is one more carbon atom. 3 carbons. But adjacent carbons we have double bonds. Adjacent carbons we have double bonds. And these are 2 groups here, one white and yellow sphere, one white and yellow sphere. Now we will impose only plane of symmetry here. Now watch out, these pi bonds and these pi bonds, they are not in one plane, they are at right angles to each other. It is a fact, right angles. Because once the central carbon is there, it is sp hybridization. Are you watching? Because it has formed 2 sigma bonds. If it is sp, it can form 2 more pi bonds here. One must be px, other must be py. What is the orientation of px and py? They are perpendicular to each other at right angles to each other. Therefore, I don't think they will come in one plane. If this is the reality, you check this carbon. In that case, this hydrogen and this chlorine, imagine, or some other group is coming here, whereas this will have a perpendicular orientation. Therefore, this molecule there is no chiral center. There is no question of 4 different groups here. Now, I want to divide this molecule into equal halves. Suppose my axis is this, I am cutting through the central part. I don't think we have any, this white has no mirror here, image here. Similarly, this yellow has no. Therefore, this molecule cannot divide into equal halves. Suppose I want to divide like this. Through yellow, through white color, yellow color, like this. In that case, this I am getting white and this is yellow. They are not identical, they don't look like mirror images. Therefore, interestingly, we have a situation where chiral center is not present but it is asymmetric. If it is asymmetric, what is the thing you have to remember? If there is another molecule which is looking like mirror image, you cannot superimpose over each other. Very interesting point. So, we have a situation where asymmetry becomes important to predict whether optical activity is present or not. So, what we have covered today is, we have told you what is the need for RS configuration and how do you decide RS configuration very quickly by inspection. Every time it is not necessary you must have hydrogen away from the viewer. I gave you a small statement, logical statement, hope you have appreciated that. Then we have got to next stage by telling if there is more than one chiral center, what will happen. On paper we are getting 4, but in experiment we are getting only 3, and one of them is all 3 are pure samples, and one of them does not show any optical activity even though it has chiral center. So we have realized there is a need for new criteria. The new criteria is whether the molecule is symmetrical or not, even though it may or may not have chiral centers. In this case it is having chiral center, tartaric acid, 2 chiral carbons here. So first and second molecule, they can be superimposed. How do I conclude that? Because it is symmetrical, there is a plane of symmetry by which two sides of the molecule are looking identical. Then third and fourth, it is asymmetric, you cannot divide them, there is plane of symmetry is absent. Therefore we have molecule 1, then molecule 3 and molecule 4. What is 1? It is optically inactive because it can be superimposed. Such a molecule which has chiral center but optically inactive, it is called as meso. And the total name is mesotartaric acid. Then the third molecule could be dextro. If it is dextro, the mirror image should be levo molecule. And we have seen lastly a molecule, very interesting molecule, allele, which does not have any chiral center but is asymmetric. Therefore, because that means the plane of symmetry is absent, either divide through all the carbons or divide through the central carbon, I don't think we are getting identical halves. This yellow has no corresponding image here. Yellow is here, but not as a mirror image. So this molecule is asymmetric, therefore we can definitely expect this molecule cannot be superimposed to its mirror image. Hope this point is clear. Thank you very much. We shall continue next class.